And we're back with a quick tutorial on how to pick your starting dupes. I've been doing this a lot recently and I thought I'd just put together a short video just to help out newer players. This is it in a nutshell. Two dedicated diggers with +7 excavation and mole hands, and one dedicated researcher with +7 science and quick learning. The reason that this has turned out to be the best in my opinion for early game, now when I say best, you could survive with any dupes, to be honest. You could survive with very terrible dupes at the start and still get all the way to end game. That's not the question here. This is more about getting the best dupes for getting to the mid game, a nice stable mid game, as quickly as possible. If you were aiming for optimum late game, you could get dupes with 3 interests because it reduces their morale requirements for later skill points. But that's honestly, that's so far down the track. You're better off just specializing at the start and getting up to mid game as quickly as possible and getting over all those boring mid games, early game stuff. Digging gives a plus 25% bonus. Each point in excavation gives a plus 25% bonus to digging speed. So this duplicant has +7 from excavation and another +3 from the mole hands trait. That means this is 3.5 duplicants worth of digging in one. And because we have two of them, that's 7 duplicants worth of digging in those two duplicants alone. That means you can excavate at all those early areas to get your rooms up, and you can also excavate at all those early resources you're going to need and gain access to water. It doesn't matter if the water's a little bit further away from your starting zone than normal, you can dig there quickly and efficiently. Now, research-wise, each point in research gives a plus 40% bonus to research speed, which means with 10 points, that's a 400% bonus. Combined with their normal starting stats, that's basically this is 5 dupes worth of science in one. Incredibly useful for hammering through those early critical research goals. This is just the fastest method I have found. Now for negatives here, there's several negatives you can choose from, but the simplest ones are gastrophobia, which is they can't cook. You're going to get another dupe that will have cooking. You'll hire them from the gateway at some point. Cooking is usually not going to be your first thing in the first 3 cycles. Biohazardous, which decreases germ resistance. This is not a killer, though preferably you would not want it on one of your diggers. I've left that in here specifically because having this on one of your diggers is not the best because your diggers will be doing all the digging. They will be digging up slime at some point, and when they will be on the front line, they're more likely to be exposed to germs. So try not to get biohazardous on one of your diggers. On your researcher, it's perfectly fine. Diggers, not so much. Yokel is one of those ones that people try and avoid, but honestly, pretty handy. It just means they can't gain access to the research skills. The skill tree that provides you with, well, it used to be called jobs, now it's skills. You can get some research bonuses, construction bonuses, gopher bonuses, that kind of thing. You can't gain the research bonuses in there. Not the end of the world. Some players will recommend you get all science, as in get all your duplicants with very high science to start, because science gives a plus to skill leveling. See the plus 70% to skill leveling there? Which means if they do any digging, they'll gain experience at it twice as fast, or, well, their excavation skill will level up twice as quickly. And while that is great, if they had, say, 10 science, they get double excavation bonuses, a double excavation leveling bonus. That's going to get them, how long will it take them to get to +7 excavation? It will be several hundred cycles, to be honest. It's going to be a few hundred cycles before that kicks in and before they become good enough to even compete with them. At that point, you're already past the mid game, you're already well into a stable base, and you've lost that early bonus. My advice, 2 mole hands with digging and 1 researcher with quick learning, problem solved. And for negatives, we'll just have a quick spin here. Irritable bowel is not a bad one. It just means that it takes 50% longer for them to use the bathroom. Not a huge deal, considering I think bathroom activity is a 10-second, takes 10 seconds. There's 600 seconds in a cycle, so it'll take them 15 seconds in the bathroom instead of 10. Don't worry about it. Irritable bowel, perfectly easy to deal with. Oh, squeamish, another one of those beautiful ones. They can't do the doctoring errand. No one cares. Literally, no one cares. Pacifist, they can't attack critters. Not a big deal. So long as you've got a few dupes that can, you'll be fine. And that's the end of the list of negative traits I would actually recommend getting on your starting dupes. You can re-roll these constantly, so there's no point taking any compromises. Unless it's taking you forever to roll dupes with the recommended traits, by and large you can just hold out until you get them. You're going to be playing these dupes for several hundred cycles or maybe even 1,000, so just dedicate a little bit of time to getting yourselves the ones that really, really, really will help you out the most. All of that said, this game is meant to be played whatever way you want to play it, so you can try it any which way you want. This is just an attempt at saying, what is a really good way? Well, what's a really efficient way of getting to mid-game? Now, one minor variant on this is you can get your diggers with quick learning, or quick learning will give them +3 to science, which gives them +30% of their skill leveling. It will slow you down just a tiny tad at the start, but it usually means your diggers will scale up a lot faster. Because one of the important traits in this game is athletics. And athletics will always level up on your dupes. So long as they're moving between tasks, all that movement increases their athletics, and eventually they will max out at 20 athletics. Most dupes will never max out their learning, they'll never max out their digging, they'll never max out their building, but their athletics will always get maxed out, assuming you play long enough. This just helps all of their skill leveling a little bit for a little bit of an early sacrifice on the digging. Personally, I don't mind. If I get a dupe with mole hands and 7 excavation or quick learning and 7 excavation, whichever one I roll first, I'll keep. It just for speed reasons. That's just a minor variant on how to play. But by and large, that's all you need for your first 3 duplicate choices. For your later duplicate choices that you get out of the gate, completely different criteria will apply depending on all sorts of scenarios, so I'm not going to cover that here. Anyway, hope this helps you choose your starting dupes, and good luck.